opportunity to let you guys know I appreciate y'all coming out and supporting like this, and some familiar faces, some unfamiliar faces, some new friends. I love it. It's touching. I am going to keep this brief because we have a date with a bunch of fried seafood. There you go. And Captain Larry's. Understand, right? One of his favorite. Everybody's invited, and it's one of his favorite spots. Can't imagine that. So anyway, I can't imagine all the fried food we've eaten over the years. Anyway, I just, it's to sum up somebody's life, in just a little brief time at a cemetery is tough. So I'm just going to get into a couple of stories about my relationship and Richard's passions. He was born here in Farnborough, and he was married my mother. They were Georgia, met in going to University of Georgia. I grew up in Roswell. We had a little farm out there, and that was a wonderful experience. And right around when I was early 70s, he divorced my mother, and that was that. So he married again and had another family. He was very passionate about fishing, as we all know, and that's kind of where I'm fast forwarding to, because past 20 or so years, we've been going up to the Outer Banks and fishing, and it's never really convenient. And you know how life goes, and you look back on it, and you're like, glad I went out of my way to make sure that I made those fishing trips, because you just never know. And gosh, so many times we were up there with one particular times I remember with his brother Johnny. Those guys did not get along. I don't know how to put it. And they were like, and they always kind of tried, but it was just insanity. I don't know what, and they tried. And at one point I moved Richard to Charleston with Johnny, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? I looked at both of them in the same room, and I'm like, why did y'all even do this? Y'all are brothers and you hate each other. I don't get it. What are y'all doing? Anyway, moving back to the fishing trips. So Johnny would come to some of the fishing trips and drive separately. And there were several times, some of these trips, they were always in November. They were about a week long. It was me, Johnny, and Richard. I remember one of the little fishing villages we were at. Most of the fishing places have these little kitchens and stuff. So we're making food for ourselves, and we fish all day. And these guys love Vidalia onions. I mean, I think all the Joneses love sweet Vidalia onions. I don't know what it is about onions in us, but so one of the nights at dinner time, we're fixing our meal, and Richard's getting a couple of big slices of raw onion, and he puts it on his plate, and he's like, yeah, this looks good. And he sits down, and then Johnny's like, hey, wait a second, I'm gonna get me an onion. So he gets up, he comes back with a quarter of it, like an apple. Next thing you know, they're like having this onion eat-off. Richard's up, they're eating like an apple. Johnny's eating like an apple. Who eats an onion like an apple? And I'm looking at this and going, this is going to be a long week. This is going to be a long week of fishing with these two guys. I mean, it's just insane. But bottom line is, I look back on all those trips, and I'm very happy that I took those trips, of course. And you just don't know when that time's going to come to an end, or those memories won't be there unless you get there. So, that's the only thing I can say to take away from that is it's important to make sure that we're in the right place at times and prioritize it. And this is the thing I have with a lot of people that have too much. They don't have enough time, don't have enough money. Everybody's got issues like that, but figuring out how to prioritize some of those family things can be a really big deal. And we all have to live with ourselves at the end of the day and put our head down on the pillow and live the decisions we make as far as family and everything else is, because families are a funny dynamic, and it's never perfect, and ours was very similar to that, in my opinion. So anyway, that's basically what I want to point out about that. There's tons of stories. Richard, we love golf, love fishing, and those are the things I'm taking away with that. And he's got an interesting story like everybody else does, and he's at peace now. This past 10 years or so, I moved him a dozen times probably. I mean, he was on the run, and And I think this dementia was in his head a little earlier than we realized, because he took a turn quick there in June. I picked him up and we had coffee at the Quick Trip in June, as early as June, or excuse me, July. And he just took a turn and it just spiraled out of control. And I think that dementia was in him probably the last 5 or so years, and that was causing, maybe not 5 years, but it's causing this run that he was on, because he was just on the run. Never lost sight of fishing, but going fishing, and that's something that we can all, he's up on a fishing spot somewhere right now, enjoying himself. So he's at peace, and like I said, thanks for y'all coming out and see if you can check out Captain Jack's or Captain Larry's. Why do I say Captain Jack? Jack to me is pirate. I don't know. Anyway, thanks again. We'll see you soon.